Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. Down below you'll see where we're looking at the final month of the Jimmy Big Beanie box. Big Beanie box. If it's any indication, sorry, I've been running up and down the stairs again. You know me, I don't sit still for very long until I start crafting and then it's over with. But so before I refilm the unboxing portion and go into my review of how I felt about the Big Beanie box, I wanted to let you guys know that Jimmy Bean has already changed the box. So I'm going to complete my review of how I feel about the Big Beanie box, but I did go ahead and sign up for January, February, March. I did it as a bi-monthly subscription because that's only $20 versus $25. So it's a savings of $15. Cancel anytime, yada, yada, yada. So I've already filmed this once, but I didn't feel... I don't want to say I wasn't being fair. I was being very fair, but I was being very harsh at the same time. And there are a couple new things that I did want to mention over the course of this. And I still, yeah, my feelings are still very, very blended, very mixed on how I feel about this box. So first off, what I got this month was the 3 60-yard balls of the orange, pink, and blue, or green. The big ball, full ball of the turquoise. A sample size of soak. And a cork coaster with Jimmy Bean on it. I did double check before I sat down to film this. And it was $25 a month. I know that Jimmy Bean feels justified in the cost because they sell this Rowan felted tweed at $13 a ball. These 3 of these are equal to almost a full ball. This is 191 yards according to their website. I still can't find it on the ball band. Nope. I still don't see it on the ball band. Wool, alpaca, viscose. There it is, 191, yeah. These are each 60-yard balls according to what they have included on the inside. I'll be honest, I've looked all over the internet and I have found the Rowan felted tweed going anywhere from $4.50 to $13. My biggest issue with it, I mean, I like Rowan wool, don't get me wrong. I've used Rowan wool before. This isn't one of those what you expect to get, disappointment. My frustration stems from most of the time when you get something like this, you expect that the yarn's going to be at a discount and you might get 1 or 2 trinkets. But you're going to feel like you exceeded the value of $25. A sample of soak, which I can buy for $1, and a 10-cent coaster. Just doesn't feel like it's adding value for me. And I feel like it's almost insulting to throw that in there. Knitpicks recently they sent out a customer evaluation of what things that they thought that, like, as we the consumers would like to see in the boxes or changes that they could make. I said stitch markers would be a nice touch, but we did get a generic, unbranded knitting pin. When I look at what I've gotten, here, let's not close up the box. Let me... So, you know, we've gotten the same yarns every month. Get the yarns out of the way. So it's the same 3 balls in all 3 boxes. The first 2 boxes, I got copies of the pattern. This time I didn't even get a copy of the pattern, even though it says you will get a copy of the pattern every month, because it was one whole pattern instead of 3 different mystery parts to the pattern. I got 2 copies of the pattern. A notepad. 2 samples of hand cream. I want to double check and make sure both of them are hand cream. Yes. 2 samples of hand cream. A branded pen. And a bag. To me, the value on this is, if I can find the other, this is about $3 for the 3 samples of soak, $5 for a pen, even though to me branded pens are still kind of tacky to hand out with these things. It's just self-promotion items. Same thing with the coaster. It's another self-promotion item. Obviously, we've already purchased your product. Like, you don't need to promote your brand name anymore at this point, unless you're literally you're trying to get your customers to advertise for you to other things. But I'd say, you know, $5, that's $8. I have no problem with Knit Namaste, but this is the kind of thing I pick up at the dollar store for 15 cents. Because I get a package of like 10 of them. So we're up to $8.25. Once again, I would expect to pay about $5 for a bag this size. So $13.25, which means the rest of the $75 should be made up in the yarn. Well, $5 for the pattern. We'll just assume average pattern prices. So $18. We haven't even, just with the perks, completed the perceived value of this kit for 1 month. When I look at, oh yeah, the needle, which once again, I can get needles for $1. So $19.25 for all the add-ons. Am I getting what I perceive to be $55 in value for split up balls of yarn and 3 full size? Not really. I understand that they sell this for the standard US pricing. $13 is kind of standard for webs and people like that to sell this wool. However, most places do put it on sale, and you can get it on sale for around $8. Getting the equivalent of 6 balls of yarn at $13 each. I mean, you're paying cost almost on these. No, I don't see the value in it. The pattern's okay. Like, it's not... There's nothing wrong with the pattern. It's not something where I was like, no, I don't want to make that. No, I'll never wear that. But once again, it's a scarf. It's a colorwork chevron, which is kind of nice, especially if you're wanting to dip your toes into colorwork. There's nothing, like I said, per se wrong with it, but it's not overly expiring. The colors, I will say, are once again Rowan standard, gorgeous. They're beautiful colors. I do love with the pink, you can really see the tweeting. Come on, camera. It's beautiful, it's soft, it's sumptuous, it's beautiful yarn. But in particularly when you're starting to compare it to Knit Crate, even Darn Good Yarn, it's not interesting enough to give it an intrinsic value. Darn good yarn, part of what gives it its value is the fact you're getting unique yarn, you're getting different yarn, you're supporting a unique company within the industry between their recycled fiber content and their social and global ethics when it comes to the way they practice business. Jimmy Bean Wool is a yarn store. I'm a little frustrated. I'm a little disappointed and a little frustrated because I really wanted to come on here and say, but I really enjoy... But Jimmy Bean really didn't give me anything specific about them to enjoy. Like I said, knit crates are great out of the box. You know what you're getting every month. The only question you have at that point is, did I like my color? Was this a yarn that I would normally use? And, you know, like this month, a lot of people were disappointed. A lot of people don't enjoy working with super bulky wool. They thought the wool was a little coarse. I think durable is probably a better word for it, but you know, there was disappointment this month with the knit crate because it was something completely different than what we've seen for the last 4 months, which I actually enjoyed. My color just was the same color everybody I watch got. This, yes, Rowan is a premium yarn. Rowan is beautiful to work with. It has amazing stitch definition. When you wet block it, it holds its blocking for an extended period of time. It is a high quality fiber. It's not like some of the mass market yarns where you're getting, yes, it's merino, but it's a poor quality merino. But all in all, was it really worth $75? Would I have paid $75 for these items combined? And the answer is absolutely not. And particularly when I can find the yarn on sale, I can find it destashed for $4.50. I can find it from sellers who ship to the U.S. at reasonable prices for around $6 U.S. So selling it at the import cost, plus your retail markup in a box, to me. But they do promise changes in the new boxes for 2019. So I'm going to give them one more shot, in particular because everything about this was kind of botched from the beginning, with the disappointment of them shipping, I mean, with no separation, boxes 1 and 2. And they do say on the listing that that's what they're going to do. I just missed that on the listing, so I wasn't expecting it. Pippin, kittens don't drink wine. This is not cat wine. Sorry. As always, kitty cats. Chrysan, it's okay. I wasn't throwing that at you. I want to say, if you're looking for luxury, try this box. But what if they've been using Cascade, which I know is a manufacturer that they use a whole lot of yarn from, and I was getting this in Cascade? How would I feel about that? And you're taking a huge chance at $25 a month for a 3-month project. This isn't just, or in this case, it wasn't just one box and you could test it out and like it. You're getting 3 months at a time. Yes, you can go month to month and take your chance on just one box. And if you don't like it, cancel. But what do you do with the yarn after that? You're really committing to 3 months, 3 whole months, $75 of your money to pay almost retail for yarn. And when I say I would buy this for $5, I wouldn't buy branding for $5. If this said something cute like, yes, there are hooks in my hair, I don't care. I need to copyright that one. Yeah, I would spend $5 on this, but this is a very, very small canvas bag. This isn't a particularly large bag. I have nothing wrong with drawstring bags, canvas bags, but to have these kinds of bags mass produced is fairly inexpensive. And the more you order, the cheaper they get. So that's why I said 10 cents for the coaster, because I've priced out cork coasters. They're not that expensive. I can go on Etsy and get enamel pens for, as little as $5. So, I hadn't intended when I started this to compare everybody up against Knit Crate, but most of us are familiar with Knit Crate and understand the quality and the content of what you're getting. We know how reliable they are. We understand how the value in that is structured. And for me, when I look at something like Knit Crate, where I'm getting 2 balls for the price of 1 at an LYS, so it's almost like automatically getting a 50% discount on the yarn. And occasionally they throw in a pen badge that's unbranded. Once again, unbranded. If you didn't know anything about Knit Crate, this would not tell you that says anything about Knit Crate. Sometimes, I know in the past they've had things like stitch markers and stuff like that too. They've had other miscellaneous bits. So I'm getting 50% on the yarn off the bat. I'm getting $10 worth of patterns because I'm getting the knit pattern and the crochet pattern now. And, last month we got like $25 worth of patterns in the book. Yeah, at the end of the day, I can't say I feel like it's a justified price, and particularly because they're selling the yarn for cost or retail, not at cost. I know that they're importing a yarn. Rowan is not made in the US, so there are taxes and fees involved in bringing it over, which is why I understand their price of $13. But I know there's a retail markup in there, in particular because I can order it and get it here for about half that price. But that is also the nature of buying high quality fibers from outside of the country. There is some give and take on that. And I understand, but at the same time, I still don't think $25 a month really felt very fair. Because the add-ons, I don't know what their price is to get the soak or the lotion, because I can buy it for $1. And when you give me a notepad equivalent to what I can find at the dollar store for 15 cents, a darning needle, and a $1 thing of hand soak, and a $25 box with 2 balls of yarn, and they're 50 gram balls, that's 100 grams. So I can't say I feel justified. Now, they say that there are going to be a lot of changes in the new year. The new box is going to be very different. So we'll see. That's why I'm going to go ahead and give it another 3 months. We'll see how it goes. If the first box is identical, like I open it and feel identical to this one, I might cancel. Just because I don't want to spend another $40 on something I'm spending my money. So I also have to be a good steward of my money. And if I don't feel justified that this is going to be better, or I'm seeing changes immediately, I might give them another try at the end of 2019. I may come back and start 2020 with them again, assuming y'all keep watching my content. But for 100 grams of yarn, I don't feel like I'm getting any. Why would I subscribe to this? I could get my own pattern and my own yarn for the exact same price. So there's nothing to the box to make the box special for me. There's nothing exciting about that for me. And you may feel very differently. And by all means, go for it. If this is your jam, if you're enjoying it, if you are, and this, I don't want to say it's a luxury yarn brand, but you do have the potential to get some amazing yarns from Jimmy Bean based on who they sell in their store. Their online store carries mid-tier domestic through some very nice luxury yarns. So this is, I don't want to say bottom of the luxury, but Rowan is kind of an intermediate yarn for me. It's not, they do have a cashmere that is gorgeous. And that, had this been the cashmere yarn in the $25 box or the cashmerino, maybe there's a little bit more value to it there. But those are also like $18, $19 a ball for 50 grams. So it wouldn't quite meet the like 50% off you feel like you're getting with Knit Crate, but at least you feel like you're getting something substantial, something interesting, something, I mean, how many of us, sorry, I keep kicking the stand. In all honesty, how many of us go out and buy a cashmere blend for ourselves? Most of us, if we're going to buy something like that with our money, we're buying it to make gifts. We don't normally treat ourselves like that. And to me, the subscription boxes really ought to be something that we can treat ourselves with as well. I know they're a lot of work. I know a lot of work goes into them. But yeah, I feel like I'm talking in circles because I feel like I'm being super negative, but I really don't feel like this was a good value. And I don't know specifically what would have, I think the combination of everything being branded, everything being at retail cost or perceived retail cost, because I don't even think with 25% off, I think if you marked everything down 25% off, you would have paid for everything in the first 2 months. Everything you got for the whole 3 months. So where's the rest of the value? I feel like we're being charged for their advertisement pieces. Now, if the coaster had come and it had a ball of yarn and a cup of tea on it and, you know, something like Namaste Home and Crochet for the Holly's Proper Pineapple Pins, something like that, like at least I would have felt there was a, oh, that's cute value to it. But something that is literally their branded marketing materials. And that's what, you know, to me, pins, branded bags like the tote bag, the coaster, those are all branded marketing materials. That's what you hand out at conventions so people remember your name. And I've been to a number of conventions, not yarn, but I've been to a number of conventions. And there are lots of marketing materials like that being just thrown around. And they're handed out for free. To be honest, the conference that my husband went to back in August, he came back with a number of drawstring sacks full of stuff, but they were free. He wasn't paying for them. And this isn't poor quality, but it's a very small size. I mean, this is the whole project. This is everything that they sent me. And it barely... Sorry, I keep hitting the jingle bells on my llama scarf. There's no more room in there. So, like, if you're like me, you're a manual row counter, that's not going to go in there. If you're like me and you have bags with your scissors and needles, that's not going to fit in here. So this really isn't even a proper project bag for the project that they sent. Another 1.5 inches in the width and maybe 1 inch to the top would have been a little bit more substantial. But once again, they're having these made, like, they're not having these made individually, the bags. They're just having it printed. So they probably didn't have that much of a choice. They are durable. They don't feel like they're going to fall apart, but it barely fits the project materials inside. So yeah, I want to say nicer things, and all I can say is I do like Rowan wool, at least. And I do like the colors. That is true. I really do like the colors. I mean, those are, once again, I don't have anything that's just white within arm's reach when I do these. The inside of the box is white, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe that'll help the colors to... Yeah, there we go. I mean, those are beautiful colors. But once again, that's not Jimmy Bean. That's Rowan, doing an excellent job at what they do. I mean, that's a very striking color palette, and it really is very pretty. I will probably go ahead and make the scarf, just because with the way these are broken down into the pieces for the by month. And that's the kind of thing that always annoys me regardless, because I don't necessarily... Ooh, there's a big lump on the side of my... It's not an open knot, it's just a twisted knot in there. I don't necessarily like all the projects in boxes. Like, the goal for me right now is to try to do the projects that come with the kits, but there's no guarantee that I'm going to want to do that project. But I'm kind of tied to that project, because now I've got all these mini balls floating around, and what do you do with them? And now they're wound up, so I've kind of got to use them. So, yeah, as it stands now, we'll wait till January. I mean, I feel kind of like an idiot giving you a full review anyway, because this isn't a subscription box that's going to be as it is now any longer. But subscription box 3 was kind of a dud for me. If any of y'all have gotten the big beanie box in the past, can you let me know in the comments below what you thought of your perceived... What was your perceived value of the box? Did you really feel like you were getting $25 worth of product every month? One of the boxes I'm looking at is actually called something to the effect of luxury yarn box. And you get like 2 mini skeins, 2 full-size skeins, and it's $30 a month. But from what I've seen, their lowest tier of yarn is Lorna's Lace and Madeline Tosh, and it goes up from there. And to me, those are... I can't spend that much on yarn. I just can't. I want it. It's beautiful. Like one of them, they did a full hank of Louette hemp, I think. There's been some very interesting ones that I've seen in that box. And even though that one's a little bit more expensive, because that would be $90 for the 3-month subscription, they're not project specific. They're essentially, you're being given the opportunity to test incredibly high-end yarns. And like I said, some of them, like some of the minis, when you get the full size, they're like $50 to $60. I mean, they're not cheap. I've got to see if they're still taking on new subscribers. That's the problem with finding some of these subscription boxes is if they're not from like Knit Picks, Crafty, Jimmy Bean, Webs, they don't survive necessarily. So I'm just kind of curious. Yeah, what was your perceived value? Did you feel like you got $75 worth of value in the previous months or previous quarters this year? As this is the only one I tested out. And I'm sure people watching this might also want to know that too, just to be able to give balance to my review. Because I do want everybody to have the opportunity to help give their insight. I don't want this to be just, Carrie hates a product, don't buy it. I really want conversation, because 3 months is not limited, but it is limited. As we saw after 4 months with Knit Crate, they threw a doozy out this month that is getting really mixed feelings because it is so different than other months. But I applaud the fact that they're trying to do something that they have different varieties, because there are a lot of people who would love to have a chunky yarn to just whip up a quick project with. that to me is what a subscription box is supposed to be. Yes, you're taking a risk on it. No, not everybody's going to like what they get. But as Holly saw with last month's, you know, there's opportunity to exchange your colors if you want to. So, I would like to know if people thought that they got their value in previous quarters. Was it just me, or was this month disappointing compared to other months, or have other months kind of been the same thing and maybe that's why they're changing it starting in 2019? So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. I want to go ahead and get this posted online, hopefully as I go to bed tonight. First thing in the morning, hopefully I'll have my Vlogmas video up from today, and late tomorrow morning, hopefully I'll have my show and tell video up that I filmed earlier today. So it's going to be a lot of me in my llama sweater. So once again, thank you guys for subscribing, listening to me ramble on for half an hour. There wasn't nearly as much to go over with this because it was a encapsulated kit that ended up being irrelevant for me to complete. So, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Bye.